Yes, you read that headline correctly. No, it's not an April Fool's Day joke either, nor am I trying to rile you up or goad you into posting some YouTube internet rant. I am being completely sincere when I say The Serpent Is Rising is the best Styx album the band has recorded. Okay? Okay. Maybe it's not the best Styx album, but it certainly doesn't deserve the reputation it has gained. And from what I've read, even the band hates the Serpent album. One band member has gone on to say it was the worst Styx album. But we all know Brave New World holds that title, right? So, Styx's third studio album, The Serpent Is Rising. The album, though the engineering and sound quality have been flat on every recording I've heard, from compact disc to digital, the vinyl, however, does seem to warm up the tones a bit. But in the end, the album is technically precise. It's dark, it's warm, it's funny, it's scary, and it's filled with glee at points, all at varying intervals in the track progression. Now, if this record was a movie, it would be an undiscovered gem. Something nobody saw in the theaters, but now gets played on TV constantly. My opinion, of course. So, what do you think of when classic rock radio plays Styx? If you're a Gen X kid like myself, you would probably recognize the songs Come Sail Away, Renegade, Too Much Time on My Hands, The Best of Times, Lady, Miss America, Mr. Roboto, Show Me the Way, and Babe. For the record, Babe was Styx's only number one Billboard hit, and to be honest, I do like the song, sticky sweet connotations aside, but I have an aversion to the word babe. I don't like it when people call each other babe, or when my wife calls me babe. It's a dumb word and it irritates my ears. Maybe it's because it's infantile or overly cherubic, but it's always grated on my nerves for some irrational reason. I have a couple other words I don't like too, like panties. Terrible. I don't even like saying the word. I understand a lot of people hate the word moist. I can live with moist. Moist doesn't bother me. Moist. Moist towelette. Moist cookies. It feels moist outside. I digress. So, I have a confession to make. Kilroy Was Here, released in 1983, was the first album from Styx that made me a fan. When I was in the 5th grade, we had a teacher who would let us bring a record album in to listen to during some recreation time. This one kid in my class always brought the coolest albums by bands like the Go-Go's, Jay Gaz Band, and ELO. One day, he brought Kilroy Was Here, and when I heard Mr. Roboto for the first time, it blew my mind. I don't know if it was the synth pop, throbbing beat, or the lyrics, but it was like I had just heard audio cocaine. Suddenly, as an 11-year-old kid, I was obsessed with Styx and had to know everything about them. Now, this really speaks to the power of music, doesn't it? I was actually so enamored by the band, I had my mom call Pumpkin Studios in Oak Lawn, Illinois, and ask them when Styx was going to record a new album. Someone who answered the phone was cool enough to speak with my mom and told her the band was on indefinite hiatus. Now, as an adult, I know what those words mean, but as a kid, I was heartbroken to think there would be no more new music from a band I had just discovered and fell in love with. With no new music coming from Styx after Kilroy Was Here, my only recourse was to go back and listen to the older catalog. And I did this the old-fashioned way. I went back to the record store, and I flipped through albums, and I bought records one at a time based solely on how attractive the album artwork was. First, I picked up Paradise Theater, then Cornerstone, then Equinox, and then The Grand Illusion, all in that order. I actually avoided Pieces of Eight because I thought the cover was horrible. I still think today the album cover is bad, but it doesn't bother me as much, especially when there are really great Styx songs like Renegade and Blue Collar Man and I'm Okay and Queen of Spades and Pieces of Eight on the album. Plus, now that I'm older, I'm not so turned off by the middle-aged lady on the front. The more I think about it, the more I kind of want to know who that model was on the album cover. If you know, please leave a comment in the section. I'd love to figure that out. But again, I digress. So, anyway, thus began my archaeological journey back into time to collect Stygian antiquities. Funny, in 1983, I thought going back to 1979 was like going back to the Middle Ages. Part of it was the trip and the discovery of new music that was only new to me. It was a fun journey and one that nourished my mind. Along the way, I fell in love with songs like Rockin' the Paradise, Snowblind, Borrowed Time, Boat on the River, Great White Hope, Pieces of Eight, Sweet Madam Blue, Crystal Ball, Lady, and Miss America. A friend of mine could just not get over how great the keyboard solo is in Miss America, and listening to it today still gives me the chills. However, there are plenty of Styx songs I don't like. I was never a fan of Sing for the Day from the Pieces of Eight album. I mean, I suppose it seems like a decent song, but all I can see in my head whenever I hear that song open up with that weird synthesized pan flute, all I see are hobbits running around in the Shire. And it really doesn't help that there's a song on Pieces of Eight called Lords of the Ring. Sing for the Day has some decent lyrics, and I think the message is okay, but I don't like the chorus and that weird electronic pan flute. Fast forward every time. We must get to Mordor post haste. There's a song on the Cornerstone album called First Time, written by Dennis DeYoung. A terrible song, in my opinion. I think it's disingenuous. I don't think Dennis was all too serious when he wrote the song, but it was kind of like traveling to hell to see how low you can go, if I could put it that way. There's probably some people who like it, and I think it charted, actually. But it's one of the Styx songs I hate. I also don't like High Times from Kilroy, She Cares from Paradise Theater, Jennifer from Crystal Ball is a terrible smooth jazz song. Yes, I Can, High Crimes and Misdemeanors, terrible songs in my opinion. Now, that being said, there are other Styx songs I love, but might not be as well known to the general public. I love Shoes, Midnight Ride, Man in the Wilderness, Halfpenny, Twopenny, Don't Let It End, Just Get Through This Night, Kiss Your Ass Goodbye, Not Dead Yet, Killing the Thing That You Love, Love is the Ritual, Edge of the Century, Back to Chicago, Lights. Also, Music Time from Caught in the Act might be one of my all-time favorite Styx songs. So I would like to interject at this point that if anyone connected to the band is reading this, bring Glenn Burtnick back. Some dudes have a natural genius when it comes to songwriting. He doesn't have to tour with you or record with you all the time, but maybe get him in the studio for a couple weeks. Glenn is a significant step up to adding quality tunes to any album. The guy is a 900 batter when it comes to writing songs, okay? Which brings me to another subject that I think Tommy Shaw actually wrote his best songs for the Shaw Blades album, Hallucination. That whole album is good, and the songwriting is top-notch. There's such a cool Southwest American highway country wind, the roadhouse feel to that album. It's not cheesy like his Damn Yankee albums, which are fun songs, catchy songs, but they're still a little mindless and juvenile. I have to say that I've also enjoyed most of Dennis DeYoung's solo work too, especially songs like Desert Moon, Back to the World, Harry's Hands is very good. I like Call Me, Please, Dear Darling's awesome. Southbound Ryan, Sound a Warning Shot. I really like Save Me from his, I think it was 100 Years From Now album. And for all my friends teasing me, I actually don't mind Boom Child. Da-da-da-da-da, Shambhabwe. So now you can see why I'm telling you this. We're going to talk about The Serpent Is Rising, but I wanted you to understand that I have equity in this band and that I'm not just being facetious when I make extraordinary claims like The Serpent Is Rising is one of Styx's best albums. The Serpent Is Rising was released in 1973 on Wooden Nickel Records, Styx's third studio album. It was a bust, peaking out number 192 on the Billboard 200, and that's according to Wikipedia. I actually went to the Billboard website and searched the 1973 archives, and it didn't show up. At 192 anyway, it wasn't there. And I can't confirm it, but I think Dennis said it was his least favorite Styx album. That might be before The Mission came out, though. Oh, okay, speaking of The Mission, which was the Styx album 2 with Lawrence Gowan, I liked it when I heard it the first couple of times. It sounded like Styx from 1977. Which is the exact reason I don't care for it. It's not genuine, in my opinion. It feels like the songs were hand-picked and forced to coalesce, which is not organic to me. Technically, it's a great album. I didn't feel like there was any soul in those songs, even though I do like a couple of them. And of course the musicianship is great. Whereas I feel like Cyclorama, the album that Styx first recorded with Lawrence Gowan and replaced as Dennis's replacement, I think Cyclorama has heart. And part of that, I think, is Glenn Burtnick wrote a couple of really good songs on that album. But anyway, let's get to the tracks. Side 1, Serpent Is Rising. Witch Wolf. Dang. The title even sounds cool, but the rubbery guitar notes that pour off JY's guitar load this song with a bluesy zest that would be a welcome tone on early Queen albums like Queen 2 or Sheer Heart Attack, or later albums like News of the World. You have to know I'm not throwing the band Queen out there indiscriminately. Queen is rock and roll royalty in a figurative sense. Comparing someone's music to Queen is like comparing a car to a Rolls Royce, a wristwatch to a Rolex, or a boat to the American Navy. It's just the best in the world. So I don't make that comparison lightly. Song 2, The Grove of Eglantine, might be one of my all-time favorite Dennis DeYoung sing-sang songs, which captures everything Dennis: chivalry, fantasy, grandiose gestures, all coupled with love and intelligence. It is also one of the few songs Chuck Panazzo, original bass player for Styx, draws on a really strong and really catchy bass line. Again, I go back to Queen, and one of the great reasons Queen sounds so good often is because of John Deacon's songwriting and creative bass lines. Many, many times the bass line can be boring, and I hate to say it, but that's sometimes the case in a few Styx songs, but not with The Grove of Eglantine. I can always tell a great song from a memorable bass line, and The Grove of Eglantine Delivers. I also love, you could name other bass songs or bass lines where songs were bass lines that were cool. Same Old Situation by Motley Crue. I love that bass line. Third track, Young Man by James Young. This was one tune JY re-recorded for his Out on a Day Pass solo album, and as cool and relevant as it was with the 1970s war in Vietnam scene, it does play out as a song that I would consider timeless and relevant for a culture that sends its youth to war. And now we get to the fourth track, a little acoustic ditty written by John Suralewski titled As Bad as This. Now, John Suralewski had the unfortunate title of being the guy who didn't put in for the office lottery pool on the day Styx hit the jackpot. He recorded 5 albums with Styx: Styx 1, Styx 2, Serpent Is Rising, Man of Miracles, and Equinox, and then suddenly left the band to join a group of other guys in a band called Spread Eagle, which was another local Chicago band. And I've always had a fondness for JC's music and Styx, and it might be the best he ever did while recording Serpent. There's humor with his songs. It's not Weird Al humor, but a lighthearted take on subjects that Styx wouldn't find funny after Equinox. In fact, Styx wouldn't get their sense of humor back until Edge of the Century, which was Glenn Burtnick's debut with Styx. That I wouldn't feel that sense of humor back until they recorded Not Dead Yet. So As Bad as This really isn't that funny, but it leads to a great humorous song called Plexiglas Toilet. And I'm always jazzed to hear this song, and so glad someone had the balls to record it. Again, this harkens back to Queen taking risks by recording songs like Bring Back That Leroy Brown or Delilah. Is the song going to win a Grammy? No, but it lets us know that Styx can let loose and act goofy, which he did again with Music Time a little bit. And it kind of lets us know it's okay to act goofy ourselves. Me and my buddies used to love to play Plexiglas Toilet, cruising around in my 77 Cutlass, acting crazy and goofy like the teenagers we were. It shows character and it shows attitude. It says, hey, this song is goofy, but we like it and we don't care what anyone else thinks. And I applaud that kind of risky decision making. Music isn't always clinical and it shouldn't always be processed. That's a major problem I have with country music today. I hear guys like Bobby Bones on the radio promoting music that's generic, pandering, and contrived. And there are millions of fans, my wife included, who really love it. So, am I wrong? If the fans love something, good or bad, who am I to judge? No, I think as human beings, we can see things regress and progress. Maybe it's like comparing Shakespeare to Stan Lee, but I think of songs like He Stopped Loving Her Today compared to Boys Round Here, and I'm greatly disappointed at the lack of depth and blatant pandering that goes on in country music. But I digress. Side 2, The Serpent Is Rising. Song 1, Winner Take All. It's a fun, upbeat, popular movement at the height of the late 60s and early 70s. California strip music, something the Partridge Family could have pulled off, Neil Diamond. I can, just see the girls in the white go-go boots dancing their little hearts out to this song, wearing their headbands and mini skirts. There are some really great songs that came out of Southern California's mod/hippie scene, and this song transposes that era, much like a song or a story would. Now, 22 Years is the next song. Took a long time to find her. Took a lot of lives and deaths. Took a long time to find her. It took me 22 years. Probably my favorite tune on Serpent, again written by Suralewski. From the opening drum slam to the split vocals between DeYoung and JY, this song hits all the high marks of a fun rock and roll fantasy of a young guy falling in love for the first time. I would imagine the collaboration from the band members is what makes this one stick out for me, and I would kill to hear it live or re-recorded. Again, it's fun to hear Dennis and JY trading jabs over this tune, then singing in unison. It's great. Jonas Salter, track 3. This is where Dennis's songwriting excels. You see, I think too often Dennis has concerned himself with writing ballads, and it's limited his creativity. And I think he's a romantic at heart, and being a romantic leads to high fantasy, swashbuckling, and adventure in the purest form. And I think his songwriting can really be like Shakespeare. Smart, funny, snarky, sometimes lowbrow, sometimes highbrow, but interesting and usually pretty good. I've always thought his writing is like a good fantasy book. And that's what we get with Jonas Salter. I think Dennis would hit his pinnacle of songwriting with Born for Adventure and Castle Walls and Pieces of Eight, both which are, all three of those are really good. Finally, we have The Serpent Is Rising. It's a masterpiece. From the opening fade-in to the creepy crawly guitar intro to the build-up and crescendo chorus, nothing personifies horror in a song like The Serpent Is Rising. The words are poetic. Words like abyss, uncoiling, depths. I love how they all come together like a Twilight Zone episode. And finally, there's a spoken word piece called Krakatoa at the end. Again, it's kind of scary, but I can see how it could set the mood for a crazy evening in 1973. So, there you have it. The diamond in the rough, buried beneath almost 50 years of joy and tumult. Has a band ever generated so much controversy over infighting? Fans are deeply divided over Team Tommy and Team Dennis. And I guess it makes for interesting news. I would bet the VH1 Behind the Music episode featuring Styx might be the most popular episode in its history. Personally, I still don't think Styx gets back together in 1994 if Dennis hadn't had success with Show Me the Way, and Tommy doesn't have success with Damn Yankees. I think they both wanted to know they could be successful without each other. And I suppose they are successful. But it's not the same. Tension in bands make things go from good to great. You push each other, and when something sounds like crap, they let you know. Have you ever listened to Freddie Mercury's solo work? It's good. Have you listened to Brian May's solo work? That's also good. How about Roger Taylor's solo work? No, me either. But none of those solo albums are Queen, and none of them are great. So, what does Styx do? I'm not sure. I really like Larry Gowan, Dennis DeYoung's replacement on keyboards and vocals. The guy can tickle the ivories. He's spectacular. His voice is unique, and I like that. Do I like his songwriting? Yes, very much so. Again, I loved his work on Cyclorama, and I think his stuff on The Mission is good too, but far underrepresented. Again, writing with an agenda usually doesn't work out. I've already mentioned Glenn Burtnick. He's a winner. Styx did a live album with Glenn Burtnick on bass, and it was so cool to hear those guys sing Styx songs, Glenn Burtnick songs, and Damn Yankees songs. There's a lot of good songwriting in this band. I kept thinking to myself, how cool would it be to see the band live, playing DeYoung songs, Tommy songs, Styx songs, Glenn songs, and Suralewski songs. I mean the solo stuff too. They could still do that. Yeah, I know John Panazzo, the drummer's passed away, but everyone else is alive and apparently in good health. So, in the end, my favorite Styx lineup might look like this. Dennis DeYoung, Tommy Shaw, James Young, Chuck Panazzo, Larry Gowan, Todd Zuckerman, Ricky Phillips, and Glenn Burtnick. Call me crazy. Put those 8 guys in the studio, make them cut some songs, make a new Styx album. 1 North American tour, 24 shows, no more, no less, no amusement park puppet show dates, no playing casinos, special venues for a special band that has been on indefinite hiatus since 1984. They could call the tour The Serpent Rises.